In a totally unexpected turn of events that absolutely nobody saw coming, everyone on the internet is mad about something again. Except this time there might actually be a reason because people in the United States government are also mad. So, Cuties. Yeah, so Netflix has a bit of a problem on their hands. They added one movie, and now people are canceling their subscriptions left and right, signing petitions to get it removed, and even United States lawmakers have stepped up, and they're trying to get the Department of Justice involved. It's kind of a lot, so before we get into that, I'd like to get into the sponsor of today's video, Vessi. Finally, someone recognized my status as a fashion icon, because I got sponsored by a shoe company. Vessi makes these lightweight knit shoes that are also somehow waterproof. I don't know how it works, but I don't want to know because it does, so I'm glad. Look at this. Completely dry on the inside. Ben Shapiro style. These shoes are so stretchy and light that it almost feels like a sock. Like it's actually messed up other shoes for me. I'm now mad that all of my shoes are heavier than this. Because they're so light, Vessi shoes are super breathable, so they let heat and sweat escape. So you're not going to be so gross anymore. Well, actually, some of you are so your feet won't be gross anymore. I personally like Vessi because they have all kinds of amazing styles which fit in really well with my sense of fashion, which, as you know, is very important to me. Also, they come in other colors besides black and white. I just don't have anything left in my soul. Anyway, click the link in my description to get $25 off of your pair of Vessis today. That's vessifootwear.com/D'Angelo. Now let's get back to the video. Well then, what's going on with this movie? Well, first of all, Netflix dropped the ball before it even came out. Earlier this month, they announced that they would be adding Cuties. The issue is that between this gross poster they used, this even grosser movie description, and the fact that it was rated TV mature, Netflix marketed this film as an adult dance movie starring twerking 11-year-olds. So literally everyone hated it. Thankfully. The trailer has 1.8 million dislikes, hashtag cancel Netflix was trending on Twitter, and petitions to stop the film from releasing had reached over 500,000 signatures at the time, and nobody outside of France had even seen the film. That's when the damage control started. Netflix issued a trite Twitter apology explaining that they actually misrepresented the film. American actor Tessa Thompson tweeted that she saw the film at Sundance, and it's actually directed by a woman who wanted to make a criticism of how little girls are objectified. And the director herself, Maimouna Doucouré, said in a statement to Deadline that she hopes people will watch the film and see, quote, that we're actually on the same side of this battle. So after that, things were up in the air, and people's opinions on this unseen film were split, all the way up until the fateful day that it came out on Netflix. And boy was it worse than everyone expected. So here's my super brief rundown of what goes on in this film. Ami is a little girl who feels unhappy growing up in the religion that she feels stifles women. This feeling pushes her to join a dance troupe called the Cuties that represent the opposite of everything trapping her. They wear tight clothes, they dance freely, they don't listen to the grown-ups. The Cuties use peer pressure to drag Amy down into so much depravity and inappropriate behavior that her mom, the school, and even the Cuties themselves get mad at it. In the film's climax, she finally makes a decision during their big dance-off. She stops giving in to peer pressure, leaves the Cuties behind, and tries to be a normal girl. And yeah, that's pretty much the entire movie. On paper, it's exactly what everyone claimed it is. A cautionary tale about how kids feel like they're not being heard, so they turn to social media, which prematurely exposes them to objectifying themselves. So what is the big issue, you might ask? Well, it's the fact that they showed it all on camera. The objectification was the film. These girls were on screen twerking, humping the ground, grabbing each other's behinds, and they didn't just show this stuff. They zoomed in. There's almost 2 minutes worth of close-up shots of these girls' crotches and backsides, and none of these scenes play into the story. Not even one. You can't even see their face in most of them. The final straw for me was when our 11-year-old protagonist gets her pants pulled down by the bullies, and we just fully see her in her underwear. Like, that's the entire shot, just her body. I actually jumped out of my chair when that happened, not just because it was so uncomfortable, but because it was so random and didn't fit what was happening whatsoever. But yeah, that, ladies and gentlemen, is Cuties. Obviously, everyone has some pretty strong opinions about that film, and my strong opinion is that literally none of those opinions matter because this is child exploitation. This movie may have been filmed in France, but Netflix is very much American, and they are knowingly distributing a film that fits the legal statutes of being commercial exploitation of a minor down to a T. It's exploitation because these are not just fictional 11-year-old characters in a film. They're played by real 13-year-old girls who are being filmed in a way that they're not even old enough to consent to. To be clear, this is a story made for the profit of adults who paid children's parents to have them perform adult moves so they could be recorded and objectified. So my question is this: how does it matter if they intended to make a commentary on it or not? They exploited those children. The director claimed that there's a psychologist on set for the children, which is almost like a slap in the face considering that she and the production team were the ones putting the children through it. Psychologists or not, being made to dance like that as a kid when you don't understand why it's wrong has a harmful effect. Just listen to what Megan Fox had to say about her own experience with the exact same thing.
And they said, you know, Michael, she's 15, so you can't sit her at the bar and she can't have a drink in her hand. So his solution to that problem was to then have me dancing underneath a waterfall getting soaking wet. That's sort of a microcosm of how Bay's mind works.
Well, that's really a microcosm of how all our minds works, but some of us have the decency to repress those thoughts.
Right.
There's plenty of ways to show that something is terrible without having people recreate that thing on camera in real life. You could film it like the movie Precious, which has a scene where we see that an adult is mistreating a child, but somehow they managed to film the entire scene without ever putting a single child in an adult position. It's still one of the most heartbreaking and impactful scenes I've ever seen in a movie. I guess that's just a perk of when the directors have actual talent. You could also hire adult actors to play the children. Gabourey Sidibe was 26 when she was playing 16-year-old Precious, and at no point when you're watching the movie do you think, oh, this isn't real, so I don't care about these issues that are being presented to me because this is not a real child. Instead, you just cry forever. You could also adapt the story into a different medium. You know, I think Cuties would work perfectly as a book or even a documentary. You know, how about we ask these girls about their experience instead of paying them to recreate that experience for our own entertainment? Turning this into an art debate about freedom of expression is ridiculous to me. I mean, on the one hand, freedom of expression is pretty great, seeing as that's my actual job. Literally all I do is express things freely and phenomenally. But on the other hand, we have child exploitation. So I'm just gonna have to say, please go to jail immediately, but also forever. You know what I mean? Basically, did this film get taken out of context? Yes. But will there ever be enough context for someone to justify recording and distributing close-ups of gyrating 13-year-olds on camera? No, never, not in my life. So everyone involved in this production, including Netflix, Sundance, and the director, are disgusting. Literally the only people who did nothing wrong in the situation are those little girls, and so above all, I hope that they're doing okay. People trying to use this movie to further their political agenda are disgusting, and I'm talking about people on both sides. We have people on the right, like Ian Miles Wrong, claiming that Cuties is what people on the left want, or we have people on the left, like The New Yorker, claiming that Cuties is only getting hate because it's a far-right smear campaign. They're all pathetic. If you see children being mistreated and your first thought is, how can I use this situation to make my political opponents look bad? Then you're dishonest and your priorities are clearly in the wrong place. If your worldview is so narrow that you have to label everybody who thinks one thing under one word, then let me help you out with that one. There actually is a word for the only people who will be binge watching Cuties long after all this controversy dies down. And here's a hint, it's not left or right, it's maps. But thankfully for the most part, I saw people of all sides coming together and agreeing that regardless of your stance, this is an issue that we all need to work together to stop. And I saw people come together not just on Twitter, but in the United States government. One Senator, Tom Cotton, said in a statement to the Daily Caller that promoting the film was, quote, disgusting at best and a serious crime at worst, while saying that he believes the Department of Justice should get involved. Another, Tulsi Gabbard, claimed on Twitter that publishing the film now makes Netflix complicit and that the movie benefits child traffickers. Senator Josh Hawley published an official Senate letter to the CEO of Netflix demanding a response by the end of the following week. Netflix hasn't said anything yet. I don't personally support, endorse, or even like any of the politicians I just mentioned, but in this case, they're exactly right. Those are politicians from all sides of the debate, but I can set my political biases aside and acknowledge that everything they said in those statements are 100% true because that's a very serious topic. Lastly, I just want to say this. It's okay to have an opinion on this film without watching it. I chose not to talk about it on my platform until I saw it because I just wanted to make sure that I didn't use my platform to spread misinformation. But yeah, no, I have the information and I'm giving it to you. If you want to watch this film, you will see 13-year-old girls gyrating their bottoms in tight leather pants. So if you want to criticize that without watching it, you're allowed to and probably should. Sometimes things really are black and white, and I feel like child exploitation is one of those times. Anyway, I tried to keep this video clean despite the subject matter because I don't want it to be too disturbing and I do want to make money from it. But I will be donating the sponsorship money. I'm just gonna go ahead and slide that money over to Rain and I'll put the receipts of that transaction over on my Twitter. If you'll excuse me, I'm gonna go watch something that's not traumatizing. Anyway, looks like I've gotten 10 minutes of content out of this, so leave a like on what you think and subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks for watching, and a big thank you to my 734,000 subscribers. Okay, bye.
FBI